You are being lied to. Right now, statistically speaking, in a 10-minute conversation, you are going to be lied to 3 times. It might be your boss promising that raise that's just around the corner, your partner saying they're just working late, or that sketchy car salesman telling you the transmission is solid as a rock. We live in a world where everyone is curating a version of the truth. Instagram filters, PR statements, little white lies to keep the peace. But what if I told you that you could have a superpower? What if you could channel your inner Sherlock Holmes or lie to me expert and see right through the smoke and mirrors? Today, we are downloading the software of a human polygraph directly into your brain. We aren't talking about gut feelings or vibes. We are talking about the hard science of micro-expressions, those fleeting, involuntary facial twitches that last less than a fraction of a second but scream the truth louder than a megaphone. By the end of this video, you won't just be watching people, you will be reading them. You're going to be walking around with X-ray vision for the human soul. But listen closely, because there is a catch. Knowing this stuff is dangerous. Once you turn this switch on, you can't turn it off. You're going to see things you might wish you hadn't. You're going to spot the deception in your best friend's story or the hidden resentment in a coworker's smile. So ask yourself, do you really want the red pill? Because about halfway through this video, I'm going to reveal the limbic freeze, a subconscious survival reaction that even the most sociopathic liars cannot suppress. It is the ultimate tell, and once you see it, you will never be fooled again. Let's get into the psychology of the liar. To catch one, you have to understand the battle happening inside their brain. The human brain has 2 major players here. The neocortex, that's the smart, logical part that invents the lie, and the limbic system, the lizard brain that deals with survival, fear, and instinct. The neocortex can lie all day long. It can write a script, rehearse a story, and look you in the face. But the limbic system is honest. It's strictly fight, flight, or freeze. When someone lies, their lizard brain panics, leaking out tells through the body. The first major leak happens right in the windows to the soul, the eyes. But forget the old myth that liars look away. That is amateur hour. In fact, seasoned liars know this myth, so they will often overcompensate. They'll lock eyes with you, staring you down in an uncomfortable, unblinking contest to prove they are telling the truth. It feels forced because it is. But here's the real secret. Look for eye blocking. This is a mechanism where the brain tries to block out what it doesn't want to see, or the guilt it feels. It's not just looking away, it's rubbing the eyes, rapid blinking, or shielding the eyes with a hand. If you ask your buddy, "Hey, did you scratch my car?" and he immediately rubs his eyelid while saying no, his brain is literally trying to block the visual input of his own deception. It's a subconscious attempt to hide. Next, we move down to the mouth, specifically the phenomenon known as Duping Delight. This one is chilling. You see this in high-stakes criminals and corrupt politicians. It's a fleeting, almost invisible micro-smirk that flashes across a liar's face when they think they've successfully fooled you. It's a rush of dopamine. They get a literal high from the deception. If you were grilling someone about a serious topic, say asking an employee why money is missing from the register, and they're acting sad and confused, but you catch a split-second corner of the mouth twitch upward, that is duping delight. Their mouth is betraying their enjoyment of the game. Contrast that with the lip purse. When people disagree or are holding back a lie, their lips will often disappear, compressing into a thin line. It's the physical manifestation of biting your tongue. If you see the lips vanish, the full story is not being told. Now let's talk about the body disconnect. We call this incongruence. This is when the audio doesn't match the video. The most classic example is the head shake. Watch interviews with disgraced CEOs or athletes caught doping. They'll say, "I absolutely did not do it," with verbal conviction. But watch their head. It is making a slight, almost imperceptible no movement. Or conversely, they're saying a negative statement while nodding yes.
This happens because the body is wired to tell the truth. It takes massive cognitive energy to suppress the body's natural rhythm. Another huge red flag in this category is the one-sided shrug. If you ask someone a direct question and they give you an answer, but one shoulder pops up slightly, just one, it indicates a lack of confidence in what they are saying. It's a half-hearted gesture because they don't fully believe their own words. But remember the limbic freeze I teased earlier? This is the holy grail. The limbic system's primary directive is survival. When a deer hears a twig snap, it doesn't immediately run, it freezes. It tries to become invisible. Humans do the exact same thing. When a liar is caught off guard with a question they didn't prepare for, their body will lock up. They'll stop gesturing. Their breathing will become shallow. They'll become unnaturally still, like a statue. We often think of liars as fidgety, but the professional liar, the one trying to control the narrative, will go into lockdown mode. If you're having a lively conversation with lots of hand gestures and you suddenly ask, "Where were you last night?" and they go completely rigid before answering, that is the freeze response. Their brain is processing a threat. That silence, that stillness, is the loudest scream in the room. However, a word of caution to my aspiring human lie detectors: you cannot rely on a single sign. That is how you ruin relationships and get labeled paranoid. You need to look for clusters. A cluster is two or more deceptive behaviors happening within the same few seconds. For example, if you ask a question and the person 1 takes a half step back, creating distance, 2 touches their nose, the Pinocchio effect, increased blood flow causes an itch, and 3 clears their throat before speaking. That is a cluster. That is a siren going off. 1 sign could be an itch or nervousness. 3 signs, that is a pattern. Context is king. If someone is nervous because they're on a first date, they might fidget. But if their baseline behavior changes the second you ask a specific question, that's when you strike. You now possess the tools to navigate the social jumble with a map that 99% of people don't have. You can see the invisible scripts running in people's heads. Whether it's negotiating a salary, navigating the dating scene, or just protecting yourself from toxic energy, this skill is a game changer. It's about taking back control. It's about not being the person who gets played, but the person who knows the score before the game even starts. But here's the ultimate truth. The goal isn't just to catch liars, it's to find the people who tell the truth. Because when you can spot the fake, you can finally appreciate the real. You can surround yourself with authenticity. You stop wasting time on the manipulators and start building with the real ones. I want to know if you are ready to use this power. Are you ready to wake up and see the world for what it really is? If you are ready to stop being a spectator and start being the director of your own life, I want you to go to the comments right now. Do not just watch this and scroll away. Make a commitment to your own intelligence. Type "I see the truth" in the comments below. Let the algorithm know that you are not asleep at the wheel. Let's see how many of us are really paying attention. Class dismissed.